It strikes me, I've been visiting the St. Louis Art Museum several times in the last month, and I've really started to be drawn towards masterpieces. Like there's a Water Lilies by Monet, and you can tell that this is a thing that in order for him to have painted that, he had to spend decades getting ready. Your genius, your mastery had to come by the time you were 19 years old. 22 years old, and then your body doesn't allow you to keep going. What is it like to have a master level paintbrush, but be contained within our mortal bodies that change and get older?
It comes with the territory. It comes with the growth of understanding that even though the mastery of a painting that takes years to the beauty of it that comes out. So as a young girl at 9 years of age and not being one of the best runners and not really understanding what the Olympics is all about, having an opportunity to go to the Olympics and you realize that it's just not about the physical. It's the mental capacity that we spoke of earlier, but still where others might think you're at the pinnacle because the event, making it to the Olympic Games is the pinnacle for an athlete competing in Olympic sports. But you also understand that your body transition, and going through the transition, dealing with injuries. So now as you continue on trying to reach second Olympics or third Olympics, is that the more you become a veteran, the more you realize that it's more quality than quantity. Then you start finding and understanding that some of the things that I didn't know at 22, technique-wise, I don't have to spend a lot more time on that. So now I'm better to do this at an efficiency level, much better than previous years when you had to grind in and grind out and day in and day out. You're still spending a lot more time on it, but it might be more of working on the things you have no control over, the things that might happen that would cause you to lose your focus.
It really is a mastery then.
Yes, it is.
I think that that's something that is not natural for the watcher of the event, the person that's not doing hurdles, because what it looks like is they had a natural ability and then they practiced a lot. But you don't, at least I had never really thought about the mental part of this.
No, the mental training and the physical, and the combination of both is that when what you see is what appears to be easy, but it's extremely difficult. So just like a masterpiece, when we say, oh, I can go home and do that. And then when you start like, oh, wow.
You start painting on it.
Right. Wait a minute. I watch some of these home network shows. I'm like, oh, I could do that. Yeah, right. And it's the same way in athletics because there's been years of training, years of trying to perfect the angle which you need to run, or the drive that I need to get the trajectory to get the height so I can land in the pit at 23 feet, along with the combination of the speed. But you work on that so it becomes a rhythm where the audience see athleticism and see great talent, but you have to work on having that talent look easy. And it's just not you, it's your coach, because your coaches are your eyes. And they are the ones that's telling you what you need to work on so you can perfect it. And it never becomes perfection. You never reach that level. But what you want is consistency. And having the consistency would bring the results that you have been working towards.
So you never reach that level. Like, is that like painful to know that perfection is always elusive? Or like how do you keep going when you know you'll never get there?
Because I think that sometimes you lose sight of saying you've got to be perfect. It's not about being perfect. The realization is that you would never be perfect, so there's always room for growth. And that's been my philosophy, to know that as long as there's room for growth, then there's room for me to always be a student of my game, student of what I'm trying to learn from my coaches.
And did getting on Wheaties boxes and the cover of Sports Illustrated, did that cloud you in any way? I mean, I could imagine it would cloud me if all of a sudden I was there. I'd be like, I've arrived. This is all I need to get to.
I don't. The accolades and the accomplishments that, to be on the Wheatie box or to be, on the cover of Sports Illustrated, is that it makes it much difficult because you're a target. And being a target, your focus is that you have to continue to work hard, because you could never have the attitude. For me, it was never having the attitude, oh, I have arrived. Oh, my gosh, if I lived that life or if I trained that way, there's no way I think I could ever continue to reach some of the goals I had set for myself. So for me, I was never satisfied as long as I was still training and trying to compete.
But it has to be so tempting. I mean, that's like the devil sitting there saying, look at all these people. They agree you're doing great. You're doing fine.
I think the temptation comes from not having a grounded foundation, and I think for me, I'm always reminded of my humble beginnings, and to never take anything for granted, and to know that everything that I have achieved, I've earned it, but I earned it with the support of many people. So as long as I'm out there, I always had to be in the best shape of my life, so if coach saying be here at this time, I'm never going to be running late, because I respect the time of the people who are devoting their time to help me become a much better athlete. So for me, it was never to lose sight of why I'm on the Wheaties or why I'm on the cover of Sports Illustrated, is because we worked so hard. But then as long as I'm going to compete and be in this arena, I have to continue to work hard, because just like someone world record that I wanted, there's someone that wants the world record that I have. So if I'm going to be out there, I better be out there in the best shape of my life, not saying, oh, yeah, I can go lay on the beach today and take a few months off. And
the first time you kind of splashed back into my mind. So as I was a kid, you were like, larger than life. But then as you came out of the headlines, I moved on with my life. But I'm driving from Illinois into St. Louis, and I see a sign for the East St. Louis Jackie Joyner-Kersee Foundation. And my first reaction was, she got out of there. Why the hell would she go back? That maybe says something terrible about me, but it's actually what I thought. Like, you escaped what to a lot of people looks like hell. Why go back?
The question to me was never, why go back? It was like, why wouldn't I? And the reason it was why wouldn't I, because there are a lot of great people there, and that the environment and the circumstance and shouldn't define the people. And for me, I was able to be exposed to sports, good education, people who cared for me. And in return, I wanted to do the same, because when I was growing up, anyone prominence or anyone that had done something outstanding would never say they were from the community. And I just thought that, oh my gosh, if I make it to the Olympics, I'm gonna tell them I'm from East St. Louis, Illinois, and